I could have swore that I pushed the right button. All right, so there it is. That's the reason why I didn't hear any. Never mind. I have to repeat what I just said. Oh my goodness gracious. It's starting off pretty good. Well, first of all, thank you for everyone who's here thus far. Sorry for the sound being shut off. It's hard for me to tell sometimes. I thought I had it on. It had the full screen. Gosh. Now I'm trying to backtrack and let me just start over. This is just kind of throws me a bit. All right, so today is going to be part one of the process to Incension. We're focusing on the multidimensional anatomy of the Tauren and what I would like to refer to this as being returning to innocence, going back to the point of origin. Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear me now. I'm sure you can hear me now, right? Okay. Sorry about that. Again, that just really, that's a bit much. So this is going to be done in two parts because there's going to be a whole lot involved with it. So I'm going to give this a little bit more time. I'm just going to explain myself here a bit. And then, that way when I get started, I can just continue to go forward. All right. So it looks like I'm going to have to put markers within the video here to let everybody know to go to this point for all the dead air that was there without my microphone being on, which is just kind of ridiculous. It's when I'm doing this, just as an explanation, sometimes, well, I have my audio mixer over here, and when I'm going to a particular part within my sources, scenes, it'll move and I'll look at it and where I left it last, it's not there anymore. And so that's what happened here. And um, again, apologies. But yes, we're going to be focusing on a process to Incension. There's different ways to go about doing this. And like I said, this is something I like to refer to as returning to innocence. And innocence not defined in the same way that we define that here. This is going back to your original nature, and it's all process. Okay, what you do on a soul level is really individuated. Okay, but this is a matter of preparation. It's important within this incarnation to prepare yourself for leaving, because eventually you're going to be leaving, and it's important to know where you're going. And it's all about you. You are a sovereign individuated being. Therefore, it's all about your free will choices, and it's important for you to know self. Above all things, it's important for you to know who you are. And I'm going to just say this because it's important to be said, especially in the hour in which we live. I do not subscribe to guides. Now, you can have soul aspects of soul family assisting you. However, it's about your own sovereign decisions and making those choices, because this world, these outer worlds, have a whole lot of deceivers going on. And there's beings will appear. The beings will appear as beings of light, and they're deceiving. You have to know the difference. So it's all about you and your sovereign choice of what you do. Therefore, know yourself above all things. So we're going to be going over a process of Incension, a return to innocence, a point of origin, because again, you have to know where you're going. It's all about your decisions that you're making. You're not taking a crowd with you. You're going solo when you leave. So, thank you everybody for being here. I think I've seen a few people. Let me take a look over here in the chat. Carla Love, that's better. I can hear now. Yeah. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put a marker in the description so to let everybody know where to go when they don't hear any audio, to the point where I begin to be able to be heard. So thank you so much for that. All right. Like I said, when I get started here, I'm just going to keep going. All right. So I'm just going to kind of wait here a little bit. I'm going to give take a look. Hi, Robert. Let me go through this here so I can see who's here. Okay, Carla, Robert, and oh, I see Mike. Hi, Mike. All right. Okay. Like I said, good to see everybody here. And we're going to be focusing on our multidimensional anatomy, specifically dealing with the Tauren. Okay, we're going to look at the Jelicic state, what that is. We're going to break this down in two different ways. Okay, we're going to look at each layer. We're going to go over this bit by bit, so I'm just prefacing this by saying this, what I'm saying here. We're going to go over the transliteration of the words being used here, and then we're going to go into, I created a translation and put it into more like a poetic song orientation. I didn't put music to it, something I would like to do because it really gives place for that. But it takes what's being said here for in regard to defining each layer within the Tauren, okay, and putting it into an English translation, which that's what I did yesterday. So I'll be sharing these two things with you. The connection of the Tauren being our personal Ekasha. We're going to break that down a little bit. So that's what we're going to be covering within part one. Part two, we're going to get more into the terms and in relationship to ceremony. Okay? So yeah. Yeah, just to reiterate, the audio mixer that I have off to the left here, when I'm looking, it'll shift each time I click on something within my sources of with the scene that I created for this particular video, and it'll move. And I'll look, and I'm thinking it's the same thing as it was before, and so I couldn't see whether or not the mixer level was, yeah, that was the reason why. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It keeps moving around. It's like, man, so I move it around. I know that makes no sense to some people. Sorry, but yeah, I was on a roll. In the beginning, there was like just going into it. It's like, oh, none of this is going out. So, all right. I want to go ahead and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, as you can see there, hopefully you can see this pretty well. You look to the left in the left-hand corner bottom, you see ENA cell 1. Then going to the top, you see ENA cell 2. You go to the right corner, bottom, you see ENA cell 3. And in the center, you see ENA cell 4. ENA cell 4 is what we're going to be looking at here, okay? And this is in regard to the Tauren, and we're going to be looking at the layers. And these layers are referred to as Jelicic layers, okay? This is known as the Jelicic state, all right? All right. Now, I have a PDF, I do believe it is in Patreon, that it is a process, it's called a process to Incension, and it has all these graphics in it, as well as defining this stuff. So you might want to go over there and pick that up. You'll find that within the multidimensional anatomy course section within the uploads for PDFs, and there's some MP3s in there as well. I think there's one MP3. Without defining what that is, I'll just leave that up to you to go check it out. And if you're looking for this particular graphic, or that's what's associated with this, you want to go ahead and download that. You'll find that within our multidimensional anatomy course, or it's known as the complete course, which is not quite complete, but it's virtually complete. All right, so I guess I can briefly go over this. So ENA cells, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. And again, you can see the location. You move over there to the right, you can see the circle, then circles within circles, and then you have one that is in the center, which is outlined in red, and that being ENA cell number 4. So cell number 1 is the mana backflow. Okay, goodness gracious. Mana backflow. Cell number 2 is the etheric backflow. Cell number 3 is the air backflow. And cell number 4 is the Manu or Kristalla. That is the PartikE, and that's what we're going to be looking at. This is in regard to, again, referred to as the Tauren. The Tauren is our personal Ekasha. Okay. I'm kind of going over this pretty quickly, and excuse me if I get tongue-tied, which I've already done a few times. I need to slow down. I'm trying to go through this way too quickly. So if you have any questions by the time I go through this, please do me a favor and get yourself out a piece of paper and a pen or something where you can take down notes if you have questions about any of this, and I can go back over it after I'm done with it. Okay? I can do that at the end. All right, thank you. Okay, so the Tauren is a Triveca light unit. The Manu Ekasha, all right? And you can see there where ENA cell number 4 being, this is the 9 layers of the PartikE. Now we're going to explain all this. You're going to walk away with this, from this, understanding all of this, okay? And if you, again, to emphasize, if you don't understand or you're confused about anything, please, at the end of this, ask questions, and then I can clarify it, because it's important for me to be doing this, that it's understood what is being communicated, okay, for your benefit as well as mine. Okay, so we're going to look at what the Gelasic state is. Okay, we're going to define that before we move on. Okay, the Gelasic state is a state of source consciousness held between what is understood as manifest and non-manifest consciousness. This is a pre-intended consciousness imprint, this being the original intent vibration configuration default code. Okay? So I'm going to go back to something here. That's what I'm going to go back to. That's the one. All right. First, creation, vibration, thought, intention. When we think of the point of origin, we think of the divine order, or the original order, as it would be. This, again, is the first creation, vibration, thought, intention. And it's always about a reset going back. When we're talking about, or when I'm referring to returning to innocence, this is what it's about. It's about the point of entry, right? Because who and what you are perfect. And we'll see that here. And as we continue with this, we'll see that. That'll be emphasized. All right. All right, so let's look at the first layer, okay? I'm just going to demonstrate this through the example of circles within circles. We're talking about layers. And again, to emphasize the word Incension, okay? So let me go back to this so you get a clear understanding what I'm talking about. That's the wrong one. Okay. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And there we go. Oops. As you can see, circles within circles there. That's the process of Incension. You have the outer circle right there, the center circle, the ENA cell number 4, PartikE. Okay. And so we're going to also define, again, all these terms are going to be defined, the idea of the difference between the PartikE and why this is referred to as the PartikE. Okay? All this is going to be made clear. All right, again, looking at this, circles within circles. I know I'm probably overdoing this, but that's okay. It bears repeating. So circles within circles, as you can see, the outer circle being moving in. So you have 9 circles in all. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, which is very significant. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the process of Incension. Okay, just wanted to make that clear. So it's moving inward. All right. So the Tauren and the Ekasha. All right. This is where we're first beginning, and we just define the Gelesic state. Again, Gelesic state is a state of source consciousness held between what is understood as manifest and non-manifest consciousness. This is a pre-intended consciousness, that is, that in-between state. It's an imprint, this being the original intent, vibration, configuration, default code. All right, to PartikE, layers and tones. The first layer, which we're looking at here, which is the outer surface layer. It's layer number 1, the outer surface layer. This is the thermogelesic state. And the vibratory tone here is Inaka. Inaka. All right, so the emphasis here would be E and Ka. Na really is acting more like a conjunction. So just for the sake of understanding, we're looking at primarily 2 aspects of this tone, which is E and Ka. So E na Ka, which creates hot gas, because we're talking about vibration. As you well know, everything form is the result of the code within the vibratory intention. So this creates hot gas vapor. All right. This outer surface layer tone is Inuk, Inuk, or Inake, Inake. So it's not quite A or A, but you can say it A or A, Inuk. All right. So the E, okay, now we're going to break this down. E, the E sound, is the second tone within the primal sound fields. This is the Kundera collective of the ecotic level. Okay, so let's look at Ek and Ka. All right, let's look at Ek and Ka. So Ka is the Mane, the light divine, the divine spark, the divine masculine. It creates the PartikE, okay, which is the inverted expression of the PartikUm, which PartikUm is the copy, you could say, of the PartikE. All right. If anybody has any questions about this, please take notes and we can answer it later. All right. So again, we're looking at Inaka. All right. And the E being the Manu. All right. So the ecotic, the Ek, the true void, because there's a lot of there's a whole lot of fakery going on in these outer worlds. There's a whole lot of synthetic light constructs. So the true void, okay, which is the Manu, from the ecodic, we're looking at the word ecodic, which is um, the first expression within the primal sound fields, or first layer aspect. It is the second tone of that, because there's 3 aspects to each layer, like there is 3 dimensional consciousness bands within a harmonic universe, in the similar sense in regard to the primal sound fields. So Ek is the true void, womb, that we're referring to here. The womb, the divine spirit, it creates the PartikE. Okay, so Ekasha, source seed code. That's what this is. The source seed code, Ekasha. So we know what Ka is, we know what Ek is, right? Sha is reference to sound vibration. Okay, this code, that is the Ekasha, this code balances the electrical and magnetic forces. This code holds / carries the photosonic mathematical programs of the primal sound fields, okay, and bridging source seed rhythms to source. This is very much like a very complicated circuit. And this is in reference to when I'm talking about anchoring the monad, and you can see the structure within the multidimensional anatomy, and we can cover that. We can touch in on that within this time that we have here. You can see it working and functioning as a circuit. Now, this is obviously a geometrical program, because we have structure that is geometrical. All right, so let's move from the thermogelesic state to the outer layer mantle, which is the magnogelesic state. Right? So the outer mantle, the tone here is ma'a, or majama. Also, you can say magma. Okay? And if you are familiar with the dimensional tones, you will recognize ma'a. Okay, that's the reset blueprint imprint tone. I've experienced being in this state before. I mean, it was a waking state, and so the description in regard to it being luminescent white is correct. It's exactly what it looks like. It is a combination of that and the 11-dimensional aspect of that as well. So we can touch in on that a little bit later, but this is all connected in regard to being one thing. There's a whole lot of names being given for a lot of this stuff. Okay, I don't want to digress too much, because then I'll confuse things. But it's a lot simpler than the way it has been communicated. And hopefully I'm not confusing anything here by adding too many things. But it's really simple. When you look at the encryption of the PartikE, you can see that within everything. It's important to know those things. It's important to, primarily understand who and what you are, and know that you're a God sentient, and your very will is a command. Okay? And the structural creation is facilitating your commands. So it's important to know what your intention is and being clear about it, especially when you get out of the body. All right, so Ma'a, liquid light, this frequency spectra oscillation, the slower, I refer to it as slower rather than lower, the slower oscillation is white. Okay, the faster oscillation is luminescent white, as I mentioned. Okay. So again, magnogelesic state. This is the fluid aspect of what we would see prior to that in regard to hot gas vapor. Now we're looking at fluid, which you could say, you can call it magma. Okay. And this is in regard to Ma'a, liquid light. Okay. And then you have a downstepping of this, and then you have when these outer worlds, we relate that to what we would see within molten rock. Okay, it's a state of being, right? It's a gelesic state. It's code for the condition, right? Does that make any sense? All right, so here we go. We're going to move on to the hydrogelesic state. This is the outer core layer. Okay, so as you can see, we have 1, 2, and 3. These pulsations in regard to frequency and how vibration creates form. Okay, vibration, like as an example, light, right? Light is the inversion of vibration. It's the code being projected like a projector, and it creates, based on the vibration form, that light form. Okay? Within the construct, when we enter into it, we're taking on the very characteristics of the code design. Therefore, you can say that we become the hologram in order to experience accordingly in its fullness. So when you look at these 3 layers, you'll see a very similar thing in regard to as if you took a pebble and threw it in the water, and then it ripples outward from the center. And so that's the point of origin from which the energy is created within the water, because we're going to be looking at this in regard to being a water environment. I know I'm saying a whole lot here, but you'll see how this is a water environment. It's like, how is this a water environment? You'll see it. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I'm giving this analogy. It's like taking a pebble, throwing it in the pond of water, and when you hit the energy makes the impact, it ripples out in circles, right? So what we're doing is reversing that and going back into it. Okay? So within that ripple, think of those ripples as being the expansion of the construct according to the code. Therefore, this is the reason why we have all the different expressions within it and all these different aspects in regard to particle units and how particle units interact in regard to different aspects of density. This is I don't want to necessarily go into this too much, but the point is that this is easy to see within you if you look at it from that perspective. Taking an intention, think of the rock or the pebble that you throw in the water, think of that as an intention. And so when the intention is created, right, it expands and it creates the effect of what we understand as being vibration, which is not vibration, but frequency. And frequency holds all the form, and it's expressed within light. And while we're in the construct, light has different aspects of density and form, depending on the reality field that you're in. Okay? So this outer core, we went from vapor, okay? and then we went to liquid, and we referred that to as liquid light, and we can see that within the 12-dimensional consciousness band. And then we're moving into the water aspect of this. Okay. As you can see, that I'm just going to go over this as I feel that I need to. Okay. So if I start getting boring to you, let me know. But these outer circles, the outer circle is you look at it as being the utmost outer worlds. Okay? That's another way to look at it. It's an important way to look at it, because as we're going in, you'll start to see it become more of its aspect of origin formation. So the outer core layer, we see it as hydrogelesic state. All right? So let's take a look at that. So obviously we're talking about water. All right? So this is the outer core again. And the tone being used here is Tauch, or of the Jada, which means the tower of God or source. Taor. Taor. It almost sounds like water when you say it. So I'm going to try to speed this up because I know I'm probably boring some of you. Okay, so we're going to go into the next 3 layer aspects. All right, so this is the ectogelesic state, which refers to outside. Okay, this is the middle surface. This is the Jadaun of the Idaun, or Garden of Eden. Okay, Jada, paradise plain. All right, the word Eden really goes back quite a ways. Goes back to Sumerian, and basically they really all mean the same thing. It's the word paradise kind of sums it up. Okay, so whatever that is to you, according to tradition, it usually has to do with like being in a steep or a field, an open area, that type of thing. So anyhow, this is obviously being the creation point of the expression of the really first open area of manifest expression in regard to its perfection. So therefore, that's the reason why it's called Eden, right? Or Idaun here, or Jadaun, Idaun, Jada. Right, so let's move on. Like I said, I'm going to try to speed this up. Again, remember, if you have any questions, write them down or make notes, and we can go back over this at the end. All right, so the next one is the middle mantle layer. And this being the Christogelesic state. This comes from the Greek word Christos, okay, which means to be empowered. It means to be protected and sanctified, or you can use the word anointed. Okay, this is the middle mantle. And again, we have Idaun, or Eden, or Ida as being the tone. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, middle core layer. This is the cryogelesic state. It's referring to chilling, or meaning chilling to icy. You can see this word used within contemporary words such as cryogenic. Okay, so cryogelesic state. And so we're looking at the word Tor within the tower of source, or Taor. Okay, so we go from we're moving from gas to liquid, molted to water, to the expression within paradise. and the state of being of the nature of soul and self, and that being the Christ, okay? And which means you're empowered, it means that you're protected, it means you're sanctified, it means that you're anointed for the ability to do what is chosen according to the divine order. And then we have the cryo, okay, which again is obviously uh, the aspect of chilling or cooling or ice, or what we would see within what we refer to weather. You can see that. And then we're going to move into the next here real quick. All right, so the next three circles or next three layers, the inner surface layer. So this is the neurogelesic state. The neural anatomy, this is in regard to the nervous system. Again, this is the inner surface layer. This is referred to as Jaffa. Kind of reminds me of Stargate SG-1. So Jaffa. Now, there's a whole lot to be said about this. And I don't want to throw anybody off here by referring to this in the way that I'm going to refer to it, but I need to address it because it just is what it is. So Jaffa. Now, this neurogelesic state, according to cheilontic science, is referred to as the guff or the hollow body, which simply means without form, or hall of souls. Okay. Now, the word guff in what's described within the manuscript for cheilontic science is spelled with two F's. However, this comes from a Hebrew word for body, okay, which is spelled G-U-F if you're going to anglicize it. It refers to a heavenly treasure of souls, which is the word being called the Asar, where all unborn human souls reside. This teaching stems from the Talmud traditional, having a hard time being tongue-tied here this morning. This teaching stems from the Talmud, traditional rabbinic teaching or doctrine, and it's not necessarily what you would find within canonical Hebrew scriptures, okay? But this is where cheilontic science is pulling that from, okay? I don't know why they do that, but I see that a lot within cheilontic science. It pulls a lot from a lot of different other sources, okay? Either way, this has to do with the seventh layer, okay? Which is, in context, you're looking at the seventh layer, you're looking at it's the seventh heaven, because that's where this comes from. The guff is located in the seventh heaven. Where is that? That's consciousness band number 7. And that is the outer worlds, okay? Like I said, there's a whole lot to be said about this, but what we're referring to, where I understand the monad, or what I understand where the individuation of souls in regard to the oversoul is within the 8th dimensional consciousness band. Okay? So I don't know why cheilontic science put that in there. But again, like I said, I've seen a lot of this. I never really said anything about it because I didn't need to. But there's a lot of stuff borrowed from other things in other sources. All right, so take it for whatever it's worth. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. Normally I wouldn't have said anything about this, but I had to say it, so there's a lot more to say about it than that. All right, so inner mantle layer. I think I got this. Did I get this right? Yeah. All right, so this is the intermantle layer. This is the proto-gelesic. Proto meaning first or primal. Okay, this is the, obviously, again, the intermantle. And the flame, this is referred to as the flame of Adamah. Here again, we're going back to the idea of Adam, all right? The use of that word, which is, we can see where that comes from a biblical perspective in the Old Testament. And okay, so which comes from the Sumerian. Like I said, it's long. Nobody's really interested in hearing that, and I digressed enough already. So this is referred to as the flame of Adamah, the Adamic flame of the eternal flame. Sun, that is S-U-N, of Jada, and we've already went across that word Jada, okay? Or Adam, son of God, okay? This is in reference to this. It seems to me, okay, let me just go on, move on with this. There is some discrepancy in regard to order for this, not on my part, but the way it's been listed, how it's listed within cheilontic science. So number 9 is the carbogelesic state, carbo referring to carbon, okay, a process of formation through pressure. Okay, so we're looking at crystal and diamond in regard to this. So the carbogelesic state, the inner core, and the tone being nadaor, or door of Adamah. This is very important. The diamond door of the first creation point, or the atomic door. All right, so we've gone over the technical stuff. That was pretty boring. All right. Come back here. Hello. All right, so what I'm going to do now, which I think is the most important part of this, is I broke this down into English translation for each gelesic state. And it's something that you can turn into a song. In fact, a lot of stuff that's passed down within our history is done through song. You know, so I find more and more of myself kind of running across things where I can see that in it. It's not because I'm looking for it, it's just there. At least it is just there for me. And it has a lot to do with what we've already done. Certain species on this planet holds, and outside of the so-called human animal body, has passed down through song, through ages. And when the songs stop being sung is when the memories cease. And the ones that hold the information and hold the stories is the ones who kept singing the songs. Because the songs is talking about our history. It's talking about who and what we are. It's talking about things that weren't intended to get lost, or a way to be able to hold on to. Those things within this outer world, which, you know, obviously amnesia seems to be the prerequisite for being here. It's a way of holding on. It's a way of maintaining the lineage. You know, when all things are lost, when you lose all the technology and all the things to be able to hold the information, it's memorization and practice of the songs that allows it to continue. And so again, this is what I seen when I started looking at this. So I'm going to share that with you. I think first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just read it, see if I can find it. I think I have it here. I got it here somewhere. Give me a second here. I wrote out just the words, I mean the translation as it would be. And then I wrote it out again, but right in relationship to the Jalistic state terms. Apparently, well, I don't need it. It's not necessary. I'm just kind of wondering what I did with it. All right. So before I continue here, I want to stop and just listen to what's going on with you all. Have you any questions? Do I need to go over anything? And if I do it again, I'm going to do it really quick. I'm not going to spend as much time as I did before because I spend way too much time, and I digressed way too many, in too many times in the process. Today's just going the way that it's going, folks, and it's live, and it is what it is, But it's important for me to know that you understand what is being communicated here. After I get done doing what I'm going to do next, I'm sure it's gonna make a connection, because all the other stuff is quite technical, and I really didn't make it exciting at all. I was boring myself in the process of delivering that, but it's important for me to be able to communicate that part of it, because you have to see actually what the teaching is. Okay? Now I'm going to bring life to it. Okay, it's always my intention. Here it is. Okay, now here's what it is, really, or what it can be. So, the gateway process girl, Andromeda. Andromeda, what? I'm not quite sure. You mean the TV show? A lot. I've been praying for food. Okay, hold on a second. I want to see this. It's moving along here. Okay. I need to catch up with you guys. All right? Sylvana says it's not boring at all. Why? Well, thank you, Sylvana. I was trying. Okay. Okay. Please be patient with me as I go through the chat, because I need to catch up. Hi, Sally. Okay. Yeah, the whole thing was basically the Jalistic state dealing with elements, dealing with the embodiment in regard to manifest reality. And again, the Jalistic state is a source consciousness that is in between manifest and unmanifest, what we understand as manifest and unmanifest reality. It is the underlining code, or you can call it the default reset code that's there. When things start going a certain way, uh, you can easily reset it. So when we look at all these different elements and stuff like that, we're seeing that as the result of the code, right? So that's the technical side of it. So here in a second, I'm going to get into the practical, immersive side of it, if you will. Intention created expands through the frequency, vapor, liquid light, water, outer worlds, origin formation. Okay. Hi, Kimberly. Hi. Just wanted to make sure that I address everybody that's here and read what's been written. Yes, thank you, Daphne. Thank you for. I totally depend on this for income, folks, which I don't. I'm barely skating by all the time, so I appreciate Daphne asking for, you know, for those who are interested in supporting this channel and what I'm doing. Everything is, it's been going on for, it's a long story, but thank you for those who have and continue to do that. And thank you, Daphne, for um, reminding folks here. Okay, let me read some of this. Gateway process girl. I started following and have. Yeah, I understand that. I've been. I I technically shouldn't even be here. My life has been something else. Thank you for the videos using YouTube University, the library. Okay, cool. The Gateway Girl. Thank you, Gateway Girl. Appreciate it. I'm going to continue to read here, check out anything that I need to before I continue with this. The next thing that's coming up is going to be a blessing to you, I do believe. So, yeah. Well, I'm gonna Daphne. I'm going to next part two for this. I'm gonna briefly go over it again, but more concisely. You know, hopefully better than what I've done here today. But yeah, I'm gonna cover some of this stuff again before I move on to the other part of it. So, but again, though, if anybody does have any questions, they're not sure about, because I went through this, even though I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit in a couple places, I did go through it pretty quickly, and sometimes that's the reason why I refer to, if you have like a piece of paper and a pen or something that you can write notes down, create shorthand for yourself so that you can refer to it and we can go back over it. Yeah, because it's as you move through it, it's easy to lose those things if you don't write them down or give yourself some notes. So I would encourage anybody that when I do these particular videos like this, live streams, that you kind of come prepared for that, so that if you do have any questions, um, you can just take notes, and it will help you remember. Okay, I'm thinking I'm missing something. Hold on, silly. There we go. Did I miss something? I think I missed something. I'm trying to find if I missed something. I think the Gateway Girl said something. Oh, here it is. That's what I wanted to see. Um, I Okay, so Gateway Girl has been praying for food and water, energy independence for all. Okay, fruit forests and permaculture parks, rain catchers and wells. Any place. Okay, so I want to just bring to everybody's attention that's listening right now. Lift up one another, and specifically right now, the Gateway Girl, in regard to her provision for just basic subsistence. Okay, and so I want to take time out right now and just I'll go ahead and just be silent and give a moment for everybody just to kind of just put forth their intention. Okay, concerning one another, and specifically her and whoever she may be part of, and far as family or relationship. So we'll just take a moment, okay? Is that all right? Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apparently I'm going to go ahead and put my cat outside because he wants to go outside. All right, Dorian, I'll be right back. All right, buddy. Okay. Ready to go outside, Bubba? Yeah, you do. He's ready to go outside, little monkey. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over the Dhamma Itorna, okay, translated as I mentioned before. And so I'll just go through this first by going through the tone and then defining the tone or putting it into a transliteration with an English. This is what I did yesterday. And so Inaka, meaning of the one. We move into light from the vibration intention. We manifest form from the primal sound field into the primal light. Maja, we now be liquid light, luminescent light. The un or e or nam or, which is now the divine sea of liquid light. And again, I want to emphasize the idea of water. Okay? Okay. Right, so Taur, right, which is the pillar of the living water from which flows the river of life, the Christic River. The Iuka, Katha, sound and light expressed through the divine mind. Jada, now experiencing paradise, now manifest. Ida, eternal paradise. Taor, within the pillar of the living water, the tower of source. Yuka, Etha, of sound and light eternal. Jaffa, here in which soul takes on manifest form. Adama, this the Adamic eternal flame, the son of Jada, the Adam son of Source. Nadaor, the atom that holds the eternal doorway of the first creation point. I'm going to repeat that last part. Nadaor, the atom. And you know what that is, right? The atom that holds the eternal doorway. This is very powerful. Of the first creation point. That's you. That's you. The Etorna Atma, the eternal source tower of souls. Now I'm going to try to read through this. I had it written out where it was just the words. So, of the one, we move into light from vibration intention. We manifest form from primal sound into primal light. We now be liquid luminescent light. Un or e or nam or, now the divine sea of liquid light. The pillar of living water from which flows the river of life. Sound and light expressed through divine mind, now experiencing paradise, now manifest, eternal paradise. Within the pillar of living water, the towers of source, of sound and light eternal. Here in which soul takes on manifest form, this the Adamic eternal flame, the son of Jada, the Adam son of source, the atom that holds the eternal doorway of the first creation point, the eternal source, tower of souls. Now, does it make a little bit more sense to you? All that technical stuff before, now this is the substance. This is the way I put it. This is the way you can attach yourself to it. All right? And as you go through that, what I just read there, what I wrote out, transliterated into English, the way I see it, and the way I feel it, you see the process of ascension taking place within you. Can you do that? We're going to go over this again. When we go over it again next time, because I'm going to go ahead and close out, at least stop where I'm at here today, and let this sink in. So when you go through the process, you don't need, you create your own ceremony. It's having meaning behind with what you're doing and your intention that matters the most. And that's what I'm looking to provide here. So you can take this, I'll put it together in a PDF, and you can take this and you can apply it personally. You make it your own. And he has, like, the inversion of the ripples in the pond. Go back to that analogy. Energy, creating the ripple, the expansion. And the Incension aspect is in reverse, right? Point of origin. And with this contemplation that I just read to you just now, being able to have that, and you can read it, and you can see yourself going within. I think it's a very practical meditation. It's a very intimate meditation, very specific and clear meditation. So, anyhow, there it is, folks. That's it for today. If anybody has any, I'm going to take a look at what perhaps may have been written when I wasn't watching, because I only can do one thing at a time. Yeah, I'm going to turn this into an epic piece of music. I was looking to try to make it simple, as far as like keep it simple musically. And maybe I can still do that. I don't know. But when I started to look at it, it just wants to move so much, you know, as I was going through it my first experience with it, that it seems like it wants to move into an orchestration and have a lot of melodic movement going on with it. So I'll see. You know, I put forth the intention for these things, but they unfold according to the way that they're supposed to, if I allow them to, which I do mostly. And it would be nice to put this to music. So there's different ways to go about doing it. So I'm open for that. I'm open mostly for what is most can be most easily experienced to the individual and used, you know. But I'll leave myself open to that, so I can perhaps create that so that it'd be beneficial to others. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Daphne is wonderful. Yes, she is. Can I ask the question? Did everybody that was listening to what I just said, do you get it now? You know what you see where I was going? What I, translated it into English, into things that made sense. least from my perspective, where it becomes more of something that you can grab a hold of. Um, as far as like light symbol codes, make sure you really know what you're doing when you're writing out light symbol codes. Make sure you really know what you're doing. Myself, preferably, it's the soul song that you have within you that matters. This, again, to emphasize, this is about incension, not ascension, but incension. There's a difference. Incension bypasses, at least with what I'm expressing here, Incension bypasses all the aspects of ascension and includes all the other things that are involved within it that can be redirecting. And I'm being vague right now because I don't want to go into this subject matter. It has to do with being misled. There's a whole lot of things that are pretending to be something that it's not within these outer worlds. So Incension bypasses all this, all the external and outer aspects of the creation. It passes within it through the inner aspect of self. It's not going somewhere, it's going within. I know you heard that before, going within, going within, but that's what I'm talking about here. Very specifically. And that's the reason why I was instructed to transliterate that into English, into a way that someone can take hold of it on a personal level, meaningfully, rather than just information. I would steer away from any light codes if you don't know where they originated from or what they're being used for. Be very clear about that. Be very clear in regard to anything outside of you. And I'm talking about guides and other things, and whatever modality. Be cautious of those things. It's not about being fearful, it's about being cautious and knowing what they are, because there's, again, as an example, and I'm just going to leave it with this, a lot of beings appear to be something that they're not. Guides and all this other stuff that may appear to you, or you may run into out of body or whatever, and you don't have a background for it, you don't have, if one doesn't have the discerning skills, they won't know until you know. It's a lot simpler just to lean on your soul song. That's very, very, very specific, and it is you. There is nothing outside of it. It is your own frequency. And you have everything within you that you need. You don't need any external stimuli or help. I opened up with the expression, know thyself. Most important thing. And with what I had read here, if you can see yourself in this, I've been at this for a long time. So things that I am instructed to do and guided to do, I'm 65, I've been doing this ever since I was a kid. It's hard to explain. very transitional, but I've been exposed to all this stuff early on with this incarnation, which takes me into other embodiments. And I learned over the years, and mainly when I was bedridden, I became bedridden at 33 years old, first time. A lot of things opened up to me, a lot of understanding, discernment, experiences that I had, awareness. Took quite a long time to process the information, but reason why I'm referring to this is that certain things come to me and they're very expedient, and I know the difference. And what I just gave you here, regardless if you accept it or not, that's not up to me. But I know what I have here is perfect. What I just gave at the end here, this transliteration of it, and me putting it into this poetic form. All you need is you. So I would highly recommend just finding the simplest aspect of self, which is joy and love, and leaning on that rather than any modality. And what you do connect to, you're going to find within you. Things externally may help you point to yourself within yourself. And that's saying a mouthful right there. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. But it's all a process. But eventually we know. All right, I've said enough. Actually, probably said too much. Alrighty, I guess I can leave with a song. How about that? Sounds like a good idea. I think I'm going to leave with Om Eti Baran. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for... How long have I been here? Been here for a while. An hour and a half, I guess. So we're going to pick up on this again next week, and we're going to recap next week. Then we'll go into this and just make sure everybody, is followed along with this. I mean, again, it's important to be able to take notes. So make sure that, at least from my perspective, it's important for me so that you understand what's being communicated here, because that's the reason why I'm here, you know. And so next Friday, we're going to go ahead and do part 2 of this. And the time we're done with that, you should be able to do all this on your own. You know, I mean, as far as ceremony, the Tauren Incension inversion, and practice that. Initially, I created music for this and a ceremony for it, but it's just been too difficult for me to be able to record all this stuff and do a video on it. In the depths of my soul, I just can't do it anymore. I really can't. It's time for me to move on. And so that's the reason why I want to do this live. It's a little bit more connecting, I would think. It takes longer. But, yeah. So if there's any questions about any of this, or any misunderstandings or anything that you would bring up, again, I would encourage for those who come to these lives, and when dealing with this type of subject matter, that you kind of prepare yourself to be able to take notes in case you need to take notes. That way you can, because some of this stuff flies by pretty quick, so you can jot down little things that you would think of to remember to ask about, just trying to be encouraging here. So I'm just recommending what I think would be beneficial. Thank you, Daphne. Daphne, thank you so much. And Daphne is, again, bringing to anybody's attention about if you're able to support this channel in any way, financially or whatever, all of it goes to living. And it's very moderate means. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and close out here. And I'm going to leave you with Om et Tibran. Okay? It's just for those who don't know what that means. The song, I'm singing it in English, and then I sing it in Anahazi. It's the same words in Anahazi that I'm singing in English. So you know. All right. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and I'm going to go ahead and close out for today. Blessings to you all. Thank you for being here. And again, let me know if you need anything. You can contact me directly. All the information will be found in the description of the video. So until then, see you folks.
Life everlasting, I now choose eternal love and this divine splendor, I now choose. Multi brown, Habre Adun, Habre Adun, Multi brown. Yased when Ebreon, Multi brown. Ebezalu, Diave. I now choose to reawaken. I now choose life everlasting. I now choose eternal love and this divine splendor. I now choose Mati Brown, Habre Adun, Mati Brown, Yasid when Ebreon, Mati Brown, Evezalu Diave. I now choose to reawaken. I life everlasting, life everlasting. Oh, I now choose eternal love and its divine splendor.